Hey everybody, it's me, it's Michael B. Somehow, for like the 9th week in a row, I'm still sick. I wish I was sound and healthy. So we are currently getting over COVID, and it seems to have boomeranged back around us. I was hoping to get so much done this weekend. I was feeling better at the end of last week, and yes, something or other happened, and I ended up sleeping all weekend, so hopefully I'm in the end going through now, and we're going to be feeling a lot better. Anyways, tonight is a very fun night. We're going to be talking all about Arcade1Up CES Predictions for 2023. You guys may remember it was around this time last year. I had my buddy Sean, RGT85, jump on the show with me. We did our CES predictions last year at this time. This year I'm going alone, mainly because I forgot to ask Sean earlier today. I'm sure he would have came on if I asked him, but yeah, unfortunately, it's just going to be me tonight. Hopefully, it's still a bunch of fun. We're at the end of the year where pretty much we know nothing new is coming out from Arcade1Up before the Christmas season. We don't anticipate anything else coming out now. Star Wars was a possibility, but if it's not announced by now, I don't see it coming out. So now we know everything that's coming out in 2022. Let's start talking about 2023, and right around the corner is CES starting January 5th, and we know Arcade1Up's going to make some announcements. So I'll give my predictions tonight, and I don't have any for sure knowledge of what's going to be there. That's why this is actually fun. I don't have inside knowledge. I know everybody just turned off because of that. These are my actual, honest to God, predictions using the little bit of information I may have got through circles and my own know-how to figure out what Arcade1Up is going to release next year. Anyways, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Sit back, relax. Hope you guys have a bunch of fun. Thank you so much for joining my still somehow sick ass. This is Chill and Chat with Michael B. So to take some time to say thank you to the people who joined tonight here in the chat. Let's go through Bonafide Picker earlier today. Predictions, disappointments, sad but true. Alfred Berger says, hey. Jason, Dark Empire, Rody8105, Firestarter X, Jason, JJ, Bobby Timpson, Bill's Retro Gaming Show. Happy Monday, everybody. Wild Bill, Bobby Timpson, Afterburner would be dope. Console Fanboy, I'm not better, but thank you very much, brother. Oh, sorry. The Real Ism. What's up, everybody? Art Davidson, Arcade Mountain, Stupid Fat Hobbit, Biggie D's Arcade. Every time I see your name, I anticipate there being another G there, brother. Brooklyn Menace, Garage Gamer, JR, Soxcade, Firestarter X, NPC 5120, Stephen Blarch, Prince Malcolm, Sterling Hall, it's always good to see you. Charlie Chuck, Cheesy Monday Predictions, Scott Lee, Vic Vicious, David G, what's happening, David? Chris Langlois, 93, Anthony Baroche, Louis P, ST Gyro, T Slayer, Nooner, Scott Lee, El Capitan, Sean P, MC's Game Room, MSU Rich, Digipunk, 19K Fox, what's happening? Mr. Serve on 18, Andy's Game Room, Papa Brad's Gaming, In Danger Dog, Ralph Reed, Peter McNabb. Let's get this show moving, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Again, sorry, guys. I'm still under the weather, but I'm freaking trying, man. I'm freaking trying. Oh, that's got to be horrible. Sorry, guys. Anyways, tonight should be fun. We're going to be talking all about Arcade1Up. Just in time. What's up, Michael B? We're going to be talking about Arcade1Up predictions for 2023. CES is just around the corner, coming up January 5th. We were actually taking a look at going on a trip, but I mean, like, if anybody's ever checked, flights to Vegas right around Christmas are super expensive, and we did find out, we asked, Arcade1Up are not going to be making an in-person appearance at CES physically this year, so there's not going to be any on-site notice. More than likely, what we're going to get is that 1UP show around CES period is when they're going to make their announcements, so no physical presence from Arcade1Up at CES this year, much like in previous years. So I don't know if that means a lot of games are going to be coming out, not many games. I don't know what you take from that. We just know that they're going to have a digital presence, not a physical presence. So even if we were still going to go, they weren't going to be there, so it's not that exciting. I don't think any of the major companies, I haven't heard back from iArcade or AtGames yet, but I get the impression none of them are going to be at CES this year. It'd be interesting to find out. But since they're not going to be there physically, let's talk about what we're going to see there. And I want to start out with something that's pretty obvious, what we're going to see from Arcade1Up early next year. We've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks. So let me just move this chat over here so you guys don't see it on screen. I'll bring this up and then I'll share my screen. So we've been talking about this nonstop for the last 2 weeks. Time Crisis. It's been rumored all this year. It was in the leaks earlier this year. That's one game we know Arcade1Up is going to announce at CES 2023. There's no rhyme, reason, no mystery behind this one. Time Crisis is going to be revealed at CES 2023. Now, hopefully, they put a coin door on the front of this thing and they come up with a better pedal before it's officially released. But Time Crisis is going to be released, and we should get more information on these online Wheel of Fortune casino-cades, what the online means. I have no idea what the hell this is. But even it's just a fun toy, I think some people will like to have this in their game room. This is definitely not a product for me. But every time Arcade1Up releases a product that I don't care about, I say, I hope they sell 1 million so they can do weird and wacky shit like make a Robotron cab. So there it is, guys. That's what we're going to see from Arcade1Up. We know already. With that out of the way, we can get into the fun stuff of what we're actually going to see. And I want to see from Multicade Matt Cruising World. All right, here we go. I want to read some of the chat here now, guys, when I can still bring it up. My God, come up here. So I see Multicade Matt says Cruising World. I'm going to talk about racers in a minute, Multicade Matt, and I got some bad news for you. Prince Malcolm says, my grandma is asking about that casino-cade. Andy's Game Room says, yeah, those will sell. Not for me, but others will like them. Yeah, I'm in the same point. Like, I just see this and I'm like, neat. I hope they sell a bunch. Charlie Chuck, Arcade F-Up is my 2023 prediction. Hopefully they say F-Risers. But, Charlie, if you look at that Time Crisis cab, they've already said it. Bill's Retro Gaming Show 2023 Legacy Cabs are the most likely thing to be announced. And before we go there, Kongs are us with an awesome comment. They're going to have a booth at CES with nothing but anti-fatigue mats. Oh yeah, Papa Brad's Gaming, make a Robotron cab. That would make sense. This stuff looks terrible. Papa Brad, you're the one who told me about this, but what is it? Satyr's Revenge, which is a game we all think would be perfect for iArcade, which is a Robotron-like game. It's a game inspired by Robotron, plays really well like it. I forget what it's called. I got my notification today because it's currently on sale on Steam for anybody that's Saturn Deluxe, I think it's called. So for anybody that's been holding out, waiting to pick this game up, it's currently on sale on Steam. Go pick it up. Saturn Deluxe, I think it's called, and hopefully they do get it on iArcade in the near future. Stephen Blursh says, any chance for a better pinball machine? Well, Stephen will discuss that as well. Mitchell B says, would love Robotron. I'm hoping, but anyways, so let me just move this over there. I want to get started. So the first thing I wanted to bring up, while Bill just mentioned, and I got to get it up on screen here, but let me just pop this up. So right here, we've got Arcade1Up at Home Arcade. And if you take a look here, they've got your Mortal Kombat Legacy Cab we had this year. Street Fighter 2 Yoga Flame. Pac-Man, which is last year's Legacy, but we got that terrible Pac-Man last year. Pac-Man Galaga Class 81 that technically was a Legacy cab, but I just want to go up here and show some of these off. Then we had Centipede and Pac-Mania. These cabs were beautiful on the outside, but they had those terrible screens. So the one thing we do know, coming up again this year, there's going to be a new lineup of Legacy cabs And it's pretty much going to be the exact same thing we've already seen here. So the Atari Legacy Cab, I think we'll get more of the same, but I think this year they'll go with something that has a horizontal monitor. Maybe this year Arcade1Up for Atari will do Missile Command. Maybe they'll go back and do Asteroids. Maybe they'll do something else on the cabinet, but we're going to get probably a different form factor with different graphics for the Atari Legacy. The shame is Centipede was so friggin' good, man. I mean, this cabinet was beautiful. They just put the wrong monitor in it. I would have been all over it. And what I mean by wrong monitor, I don't even mean the TN monitor. I don't give a shit about that. If this had a vertical monitor, I would have bought this cabinet. 100%. Then, of course, Bandai Namco. We'll get the same shit again next year. You're going to get a Pac-Man version that's going to have all the same games. Different art. I don't think you'll get anything like... I don't think we're going to get Galaga branded. It'll be Pac-Man again. Or something from the Bandai Namco lineup. I mean, they've pretty much ran through all the Pac-Man cabs, so I don't know what's left. But we'll get a Bandai Namco Legacy again next year, same art, and maybe we'll get some skins. Maybe we'll get a Galaxian. Galaxian would be cool as a multiple skin for that cabinet. I think this year they did Dig Dug, which is a beautiful looking cabinet. Atari, they never do the alternate skin for. But then you're also going to go down and you're going to get Midway, Mortal Kombat 30th last year for people that were upset about that, or you didn't like the art. Don't worry, because Midway Legacy will be back again next year. I think this year we're going to go back to Mortal Kombat 2, but we'll in that new form factor, hopefully without a TN monitor. And if they do come back with the same form factor, except done in Mortal Kombat 2, with a BOE monitor, I'll be getting my next Mortal Kombat from these sons of bitches again as well. Then moving down, the one I really want to talk about is Capcom, and here's where I think it's going to be interesting, because every Capcom Legacy so far has been Street Fighter branded, some iteration of Street Fighter. I think that will be the same again coming up again this year. However, I think we're going to get something a little bit different. It's still going to be Street Fighter branded, but maybe they're going to go with something else from the series. People have been asking for years, what about other games? Like, what about Street Fighter 3? What about Street Fighter Alpha? Is there a possibility that they know nothing else from Capcom is going to get the retailers to jump up? Maybe they jump on the Street Fighter bandwagon and add something different. I think we'll see the same games that already work in that hierarchy. So I think it's like Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting Championship Edition and Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. They'll work just because those are the big online games they're trying to push. So they'll be on the cabinet, but expect a completely different lineup. And maybe this year we'll start to see some other games from the Street Fighter universe that we've never seen on cabs before. And maybe even a different art package. It'll still be Street Fighter because they refuse to do like a Final Fight again, but maybe it'll be something other than Street Fighter 2 or some iteration of Street Fighter 2. And then, of course, last but not least for the Legacy cabs, we've got Miss Pac-Man, and God only knows what they'll do with Miss Pac-Man next year, because they've already done Wood Grain Miss Pac-Man, they've done Black Miss Pac-Man. Just go back and do the original. Like, I'll probably replace my first generation Miss Pac-Man if you just do a normal art design Miss Pac-Man with more games and online connectivity. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that again next year. The biggest concern for me with the Legacy cabs is put the TN monitors to bed. If you can't get good TN monitors, just bury them. Bury them in a field somewhere with the ET carts. So that's that, guys. That's the Legacy cabs. Oh, Console Fanboy with a $1.99 super chat. I want to make sure I get that. Sorry, Zohar. 1 second, brother. So we've got Cruisin' USA stand-up may never happen, right? Well, that's a tough one, Zohar, because the rights are still so closely tied to Nintendo, but Arcade1Up does in fact have a working relationship with Raw Thrills. They've worked together on that big Buck Hunter cab, so if there was a Nintendo game that could bridge the gap, Cruisin' USA or Cruisin' World may be the one. The Cruisin' Series may be the one. Thank you very much for the super chat. Peter Griffin Electric Drums, $4.99 super chat. Arcade1Up already has partners with Pinball. So, where's new Pinballs? That's an excellent question, Peter Griffin Electric Drums. And I will openly tell you, do not anticipate finding any new Arcade1Up Pinballs next year because of the cost of producing pinballs. And I know this is going to suck for everybody, but everybody doesn't just want Arcade1Up to come out with the exact same pinballs they had at the current price point. People want the pinballs. They want them cheaper. Plus, they want Wi-Fi. They want 1080p visuals, 60 frames per second. And guys, Arcade1Up can't do it. They can't release the product that you guys want at a cheaper price point. Hell, they can't even release the product that they currently have right now at a cheaper price point. That's the friggin' problem. So, unfortunately, due to the cost associated with it, if Arcade1Up was to release more pinballs, the impression I get is you're talking like $9.99 to $13.99 US is what it would take for them to release the same product with Wi-Fi and maybe better visuals. I don't even know if their chipset can handle it. Yeah, it sucks. I don't anticipate Arcade1Up releasing any more pinballs in the near future until some factors change and they can get it out there. The desired price for those pinball tables, honestly, from Arcade1Up standpoint, was around $4.99 to $5.99, and they can't at the price point that they have to make them and their cost point with their return. They can't do it at that price point. So I don't think you'll see anything more from Arcade1Up pinball while the prices remain the way they are, and that sucks because they're actually pretty good products. Like, I like my Attack from Mars pinball table. I was hoping they'd release another Bally Williams table with the rest of the games on it, but it looks like we're not going to see it. And the dream of getting like an Indiana Jones Bally Williams table is definitely not going to happen either, and that really, really sucks. So, excuse me, moving on from there, Bill's Retro Gaming Show would love to see a Galaga Galaxian 3/4 scale cab with the same or similar lineup to the 10-game Partycade version. I think that would be a popular one if you're out of Pac-Man games and you don't know what else to do with Bandai Namco's license. That Galaxian cabinet is absolutely stunning. I would suggest you go that way. So, moving on, what else are we going to see next year? And this is probably going to be the most, I don't know what the right term for this is, upsetting comment I'll probably make, but I don't know if Arcade1Up are going to have a ton of new releases next year. I think we're going to see another year very similar to this where we're going to get our legacy titles. Those are going to come out. Whether or not they're successful, I don't know. But I think most of what's going to come out is going to be re-releases in different form factors, and you might get one to 4 new titles. I think something really big is going to happen this year. The rumblings I've been hearing is that Arcade1Up are currently working on a title long thought to be almost impossible, but it might actually be happening. UAG actually mentioned this on a stream, and I can't believe we're talking about this, but maybe Arcade1Up have somehow worked out some way to make a WrestleFest cab finally happen. Now, it's crazy because it's a combination of Technos, which is a company that Arcade1Up have not worked with yet. We've been waiting for that Double Dragon cab that's never come out, but Technos plus WWF, those are the two partners. And then where it gets really tricky is it's a licensing nightmare, much like NBA Jam, like to get all the characters from the games to sign off, whether they agree with it, whether they're under Legends deals. That's the nightmare of it. I've always said it'd be impossible because of two names, and that's Demolition. I don't know if both members of Demolition, because Axe isn't in here. It's just Smash that I think is the problem, because Smash and Axe were the ones that filed the concussion lawsuit against WWE. Crush is the other Demolition member, and I think he was always cool with WWE towards the end of his life, so I don't think Crush should be a problem. Where this gets complicated again, though, is, and this is where it gets really complicated, I don't know if the Legion of Doom are still under Legends contracts with WWE, because if you remember, the Legion of Doom just appeared in a game on iArcade called Retromania Wrestling. So if they're under Legends contracts, how are their contracts available for Retromania Wrestling? So hopefully that's something that Arcade1Up can do, because speaking of WrestleFest, what's the first thing you think of when you turn on WrestleFest? It's the Legion of Doom doing those interviews leading up to the tag team tournament. So it'll be pretty tough if they're missing two of your big tag teams in the game, and I don't know how they do it. And that's my big concern with WrestleFest is, how in God's name do you do a WrestleFest game where you don't have the people? I mean, it's not like NBA Jam where you take out a couple people, but the teams are still kind of the same. I mean, with wrestlers, it's really different. And one of the things that really concerned me about it was, I want to bring this up for you guys, and I'm sure many of you might remember this. But you remember a couple years back, there was a WrestleFest remake on Xbox 360, and they had to take so many guys out because they couldn't get them in the games that they ended up putting people back and completely modifying the game to make it work. So here on the screen is like Rey Mysterio and The Rock were in it, and we'll move past this and see if we can get to a point where these guys are off screen. Sheamus and Sergeant Slaughter. At least they brought back Sergeant Slaughter in the game, right? But this is what they did. They couldn't get the original guys, so they had to bring in modern talent, like The Game was in there, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, because, like, you know, I wanted to play as those guys in WrestleFest. Never, not once. All right, what else we got here? There's Jake the Snake, Yokozuna, and The Undertaker. And you don't even put them in as, like, you know, 1980 or 1990s Undertaker. You put him in as last generation Dead Man. So, I mean, a lot of problems with what they did with this game. It's just, that's my concern, that if Arcade1Up was to do a version of WrestleFest, especially where they don't have all the characters, they don't have the rights to it, would it be this? And if it is this, would you guys be happy with it? I know, that looks horrible to the arcade game. I'm not saying that it would be graphically the same, because that's a piece of shit. I think Arcade1Up was smarter than that. They'd keep it the same great arcade graphics that Technos always had. It's basically who is in the game, because if there's no Demolition for sure, and then if anybody else has to come out, they're going to have to be replaced by people. And what do you guys want to see? Do you want to see people from around that time period? How would it work? So I kind of get your feedback about this, because this is going to be the big one. And I think if there's one game that's going to be a big surprise release for Arcade1Up this year, the same way that Blitz or Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was, I think it would be WrestleFest. That would be the big one. Nooner says people bought Blitz not having full rosters. I think that's a little bit different, though. Nicole T, what about an AVP cab? That'd be a sad Arcade1Up with only one title on it, I will tell you that. John D has been hanging out with Up, Up, Down, Down, and with AJ Styles backstage at WWE. So you have to assume some talk's been made. That looks hideous. Yeah, it does. Arcade Mountain says, I would rather them swap out characters for other old school characters that weren't in there instead of new guys. Me too. That bringing in the new guys was terrible, but I would want people from that exact time period. And I think that was right around or after WrestleMania 7. That would be the time period. Prince Malcolm says there was a big promo of WrestleFest on Young Rock, and Hogan has been in the news promoting the Ghostbuster Spirits Unleashed game. Like I said, 2K22 release changed the way the WWE negotiates. Mike Worley says, wouldn't buy a watered-down version. WWE All-Stars in an arcade format would be awesome. Maybe. I wouldn't be interested in that, but... So, that's Hopsy66 says, insert Heart Foundation and the Rockers. Yeah, that'd be interesting. You could do that. Hopsy67 says, what about if you can't do Demolition, maybe you can insert Heart Foundation or the Rockers. That'd be an interesting choice, right around from the right time period. I would be fine with that. Retro Pass says, no more risers, please. It looks like we're going in that direction. So, anyways, that's my take. If WrestleFest happens, I'd be super excited. It's one of my big all-time must-have games. Arcade game I would want in my house. One of my all-time favorites. And I would love to see them make it as close to possible as the original was. Honestly, if it wasn't exactly like the original, I'd be pretty upset. But hopefully, I understand the logistics of it. Sucks. Prince Malcolm, $4.99 Super Chat. Originally, WrestleFest had The Undertaker and Warlord, but they were removed by Vince McMahon. They could replace Demolition. Those would be good choices. Definitely Undertaker, as long as he's, black and gray Undertaker wearing the original stuff. I don't know about Warlord, man. Warlord kind of sucked. Endless One Up says, damn, he didn't read my comment. Let me go back and see it. Nice hat, you dirty shill. Happy Monday, Mike B. Tell my mom I said hi. I hope you were feeling better, my man. I will. Thank you very much. Thanks again for the super chat, Prince Malcolm. Sean P says, I'll take risers over pro cabs any day until they lock in their A game. So, I think WrestleFest is going to be the big release. What else are we going to get this year? We already talked about Time Crisis. That's new release number 2. New release number 3 is going to be, I think, a potential driving cabinet coming out this year that maybe was going to come out last year. Now, you guys are probably going to be pretty disappointed when I say this, but for all the people holding out hope for Cruisin', for Daytona, for all those amazing driving games, I unfortunately don't think we're getting any of those. And I don't think it's licensing so much as just emulation and making it work. And right now, I think emulation with Arcade1Up, they've got as far as they're going to get with maybe what they did with Ridge Racers. So I don't know if we can really go much further than that. I don't know if they can go in different directions, but I don't think Daytona's the next racer. I know it blows my mind because I'm looking at this and I'm like, hey, if you're talking arcade racers, you're either going to do Daytona or you're going to do Rush or you're going to do Cruisin'. One of those 3 games. That would be my choice. And then if you did Daytona, you throw some of the Sega games on there. Of course, you're going to do your Rush series, and of course, you're going to do your Cruisin' series. But I don't think they're going to do any of those. What I think we're going to get, right now, from what I heard, the plan was, I can't believe I'm even saying this, Fast and the Furious. So apparently there were a bunch of Fast and the Furious racing games. They run off like I think it's like a PS2 emulator around that level. And Arcade1Up were considering making Fast and the Furious racing games. And I will tell you that most of the fan base would be fastly furious if they didn't look at Daytona, Cruisin', or Rush, and they made Fast and the Furious. I don't think anybody wants that. But that's not 100%, and maybe they go in a different direction, that instead of doing Fast and the Furious, because they know maybe that's a arcade game the fan base maybe wouldn't like. I think Retro Ralph made a video recently talking about his top arcade racers of all time, and he put it pretty high. I've never ever played a Fast and the Furious arcade racing game. Maybe they are pretty good. I don't know, but like when I think Arcade1Up and I think of games that need to be brought out, I don't think of Fast and Furious racing. Again, I think of Daytona, Rush, and Cruisin'. Those are the 3 big series. But maybe they go in a different direction and they do something a little bit more classic. Pole position, I heard, would be very hard because they would have to change the game massively. I heard that there's a bunch of branding inside on the tracks for like cigarette companies and stuff like that would all had to be taken out. But also, I think they might go in a different direction, something like off-road. Off-road is another one I heard. So, I don't know there, guys. I think for us racing fans, I'm 100% certain that the direction I would go if I'm Arcade1Up, I would tell my team, how do you make Daytona, Rush, or Cruisin' happen? Those 3 titles. I wouldn't even look at anything else. That would be my top 3 priorities. But I think if there is a racing cabinet coming out this year, it's either going to be Fast and the Furious, or it's going to be something like Super Off-Road. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, he said they're doing 2 driving cabs before they do Cruisin' or anything else. And they are Off-Road and Fast and the Furious. Man, Hydro Thunder would be dope too. Incredibly dope. And then they've also got Arctic Thunder. There was a guy selling 2 Arctic Thunder machines here for $500. And one of them was super broke. I honestly thought about getting them. Super Sprint is way better than Off-Road. Super Sprint might be on it. But so that's my guess. You're looking at Time Crisis. You're looking at WrestleFest. You're looking at one racer, more than likely Fast and the Furious. And I don't know if there will be a 4th game. I don't know if there's something else out there that really speaks to what we're doing. Now, I've mentioned those titles. I will say there's a possibility they do a classic cabinet this year, much like what they did direct-to-consumer last year with Dragon's Lair. Maybe we get something special this year. Now, my hope, deep down in my heart, is Robotron. I want a Robotron cab so bad. I don't think it'll happen. I've always heard that it was going to be Smash TV, not Robotron. So, my fingers are crossed for Robotron. That would be the special direct-to-consumer cabinet that Arcade1Up would release this year. But there's a possibility it might be something different. And that something different may just be a properly done Defender cab. Honestly, one of the best products Arcade1Up have put out in the last little while, one that everybody goes nuts for, the Catalina wine mixer, is that Defender party cab. But what if Arcade1Up actually did a proper Defender cab, done properly with proper controls, put the lineup from the Defender party cab on that cabinet, and that was their special order cab this year? I think that would do wonderfully. 100%. Jason says Afterburner needs to happen. They already did a flight stick for Tron. Just make it more durable. Ralph Reed says, I got my Defender party cab. I'm good. They have done dual skins before. Yeah, but they've done dual skins on Midway Legacy cabs that they've already sold to retailers. They won't do a dual skin for a game that they're going to sell direct to consumer. I don't think like it. What about Outrun 2006? I don't think they're in that territory. So anyways, that's my guess. I think that this year the special cab could be, there's another one too. There's one of three. So I think your three guesses are Smash TV, or it's going to be a Defender with proper controls, just like the Defender Partycade. And then the third option is maybe they finally give in and do Qbert. You can get a special made direct-to-consumer Qbert cabinet. That's my guess. Matix says MK4. No, I don't think we'd see MK4. I don't think that's on the lineup coming up the next year. Moon Patrol cab. A Moon Patrol cab would be amazing. I don't think Arcade1Up are going to make that. We forget sometimes Arcade1Up is not making cabs to sell to consumers. Arcade1Up is making cabs to sell to retailers who are banking on the consumers buying them. So it's a weird model, man. Jason says he'd be happy with a day one buy for Smash TV. Lonnie, I would love to see a House of the Dead. I don't see it in the near future. We're getting Time Crisis, and there's not going to be another gun cabinet next year in a 3/4 scale form factor. Stupid Fat Hobbit says, I'd be content with WrestleFest, Smash TV, and Off-Road. Sounds like it might be a good year for him if they do that many. Old Blue Eyes 76 is Track and Field dead. Unfortunately, yeah, apparently Track and Field was brought out to retailers, and retailers said, we don't know what that is, and it didn't get enough retailer interest, so looks like Track and Field is dead, unless they decide to, try to make that a direct-to-consumer cabinet. I don't think we'll get it. Watcher 22, Gorf, Shinobi, and Stargate. Yeah, I would love to see all those, but I don't think it's going to happen. Any chance NBA Showtime? I wouldn't hold your breath. I didn't confirm Qbert. I don't know anything about Qbert, P-Dubs. I just said it's a possibility. I think every year going forward, we're going to get some kind of really well-packaged, polished, like they did with Dragon Lair, direct-to-consumer cab, and my three guesses were Smash TV, which I really hope is Robotron, but I think it'll be Smash TV. Smash TV, Defender done properly like the Partycade, or Qbert is the third option. Track and Field was my drugstore game. I wish. Maximilian Cantu, a Nintendo cabinet. I don't think they're there yet. I don't think they're anywhere close to getting a Nintendo cab at this point. Nintendo is just like, yeah, we're good, man. We don't need you. So it sucks. I would love to see them come out with one. I don't think it's gonna happen. Chaotic BPR would love a Midway Sports Legacy cabinet with NBA Jam, Blitz, and NHL Open Ice. A lot of money going to a lot of different pockets there. That'd be a really tough one. Matix says only 3 new cabs in 2023. Yeah, that's my guess. 100%. I think it'll be a very similar year to this that we just went through. So I think you're only going to see, in 3/4 scale, you're only going to see WrestleFest, Time Crisis, Fast and the Furious, or Off-Road, and then a fourth cabinet, which is going to be big legacy cabinet. So either Smash TV, Qbert, or Defender done properly. That's my guess. Oh, the special direct Moonwalker. No. Nicole T says, I thought KI was Nintendo, though. No, KI was originally published by Nintendo and Rare, but the rights were retained by Rare, who then were bought by Microsoft. Microsoft owns Killer Instinct 100%. Oh yeah, Nooner, I can throw commercials into live streams all the time. A new fighter cab, maybe Tekken or Virtua Fighter. I don't know about that. David G says Defender cab with Robotron, Stargate, and Sinistar with 49-way joystick would be a dream cab. Yeah, that's one of the things. They got that 49-way stick now. So maybe they can do more stuff with it. Thank you very much for the super chat, David G. I appreciate it, brother. Papa Brad's Gaming says, a Defender with good control, same as Partycade, and a good screen I would buy. I like them to fix my Marvel vs. Capcom 2 cab first, though. No online was a hard pill to swallow. Yes, so here's my next prediction. Online will be available next year. Online will be fully available next year for Blitz and Marvel vs. Capcom 2. We've been through this. They can't not do it, guys. Arcade1Up will put a horizontal monitor in Qbert. Blades of Steel with trackballs. Yeah, MG says a good point. It's a shame all the Blitz drama overshadowed the great work they did on the 49-way joystick. So, in terms of re-releases in the 3/4 scale, not legacy cabinets, the plan was that we were supposed to get Star Wars before the end of this year. I mean, it'd be hard to think that Arcade1Up could announce it, sell it, and release it before December at this point. But we know a Star Wars 3/4 scale re-release is coming as well. So there it is. That's still going to happen. All right. So before we move on, I do want to touch on something. I'll touch on that later. So I do want to move on. What I think the big thing for this upcoming year is going to be the rise of the XL and Pro cab. So I think we're going to get more XL and Pro this upcoming year. Last year, David McIntosh said 2022 was the year of the XL and Pro. Timing got screwed up. And one of the biggest things that got screwed up was they built these cabinets with this absolute dog shit monitor. And it sucks too, because honestly, I'm about to do my review on NBA Jam Shaq, and I gotta tell you, I got the 2 XL cabs this past year, discounted from Arcade1Up, and I absolutely fell in love with the form factor, the way they're built. Everything about them screams, this is what Arcade1Up should have always been. It's light, it's good. Let's see what this is. I don't know what that is. It's light, it's good, it should have been built that way, but then they put that dog shit monitor in both those cabs. We got a $25 super chat, I think it is here. Thank you very much from Maximilian Cantu. They could possibly do cabinets with indie games. That's a possibility. There's been some talk about Arcade1Up possibly doing, and we'll get to this in a second, not so much an indie game, but thank you very much for the super chat, by the way. There's been some talk about them possibly doing what's it called? A modern retro game in a cab, which we'll get to in a minute. But before we go any further, it's the year of the XL and the Pro. Let's talk about the XL first. So what I expect to see in XL, I think you're going to get more sports games. So people that already bought this might be pissed off, but I think there's a small possibility that next year we may see an XL Blitz cabinet. I mean, it's continuing the tradition, sports. So we might see XL Blitz coming out next year. Maybe we will even see an XL shooting cabinet for the first time. And you guys know where I'm going to go with this. It's a possibility that their first XL shooter is actually going to be a Buck Hunter cab. These XL cabs, it makes perfect sense for them to be some kind of burr or, robust game room type thing. You think about your favorite burr games. They were Blitz, NBA Jam, Golden Tee, and of course Big Buck Hunter. You'd see them in every pool hall burr. So those are the games that make the most sense. So I expect to see 2 of those. And then 2 non-sports games that I could see coming out in the XL form factor next year is one we've been talking a lot about in the 3/4 scale form factor, which is in fact Star Wars. So we could possibly see a 3/4 scale Star Wars cabinet coming out next year. And then a 4th cabinet, which this is why I wanted to talk about this, because you talked about an indie or more modern game. What about a XL Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cabinet that might have Shredder's Revenge on it as well, or it might have some of the Cowabunga collection? Just throwing it out there. Those are my 4 choices for XL branded cabinets next year. I think we only got 2 this year, mainly because Golden Tee came out and just got slaughtered because of the screen. Rightfully so. Rightfully so, too. That screen is terrible. And then NBA Jam was off to a rough start because of the screen as well. But hopefully they have their screen issues sorted out now. They have better screens lined up. IPS BOE monitors to go into the XLs. And I think that they'll have a lot more success releasing these XL form factors because they're what Arcade1Up always should have been. They're fantastic. The build is just great. Some of the artwork's not so great. Shaq, I'm looking at you. But everything else about those cabs are amazing. They just needed better monitors. And when you put the better monitors into them, I think you're going to get a lot more love from your fan base. You're going to get a lot more people buying them. And people are going to start turfing their 3/4 scale, much like me, to bring the XLs in home. That's my guess. Chaotic BPR says, bow down to open ice. Nick Gamble says, I'd buy them all, Mike. Yeah, I mean, going back to Big Buck, it just makes sense. The biggest complaint you guys get about your shooter cabs every single time is the screen is too small. And then you tie it in with the Sinden gun technology where you need that white border around the screen. I mean, it's only a 17-inch screen. You're already narrowing your field so much. So a 19-inch screen for a shooter just makes good sense. So there you go. Frankie Bell says, Arcade1Up needs considered paid updates, throw games on like NHL, NBA. I'd pay $80 for that. That's an interesting one. Nick Gamble says, I think a Pac-Man XL is inevitable. That might be a possibility as well. But so guys, that's my 4 guesses for XL cabs next year. I think you're going to get Big Buck Hunter, NFL Blitz. That's more the long shot one because it's so close to the 3/4 scale Blitz already being out there. They don't want to bastardize their sales. I don't know if I should have used that term, but I'm sick, so I'm going to stick with it. But I think that we're going to move into a territory where it's going to be Blitz, maybe, like I said, the long shot, Big Buck Hunter, Star Wars, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's the 4 XL cabs you might possibly see next year. What about the Pro cabs? Well, I guess that depends. How well did the Pro sales go on Killer Instinct? It says they sold out, so you had to think that they're happy. Their test was good in their results, so they're going to do more Pro cabs. I think it's pretty safe to say you're not going to see just anything in a Pro format. Don't expect to see an X-Men Pro cabinet. Not right now. It depends on how they sell. But I think mainly what we're going to see is we're going to see fighting cabinets. And the 3 that I see as most realistic coming out as Pro fighting cabinets, I don't know if we'll get 3 next year. Maybe we'll only get 2. But if we get 3, all right, get ready for this. You already know where this is going. This is why I refuse to buy Yoga Flame or any other Arcade1Up Street Fighter cabinet right now, because I know they're going to be making a Street Fighter Pro cabinet. I know it's going to be in a Dynamo box. Justin Console Kits has talked about it a bunch. So we know there's a Pro Street Fighter coming out. So that's the big one. Pro Street Fighter. One second, guys. Let me get a little bit of coffee here. It's a no-brainer. I think most people were amazed that Killer Instinct was the first Pro cab they were going to release, and it wasn't going to be Street Fighter. That was the shock, but I think that was a marketing decision, and I think that's one they would like to have back because the timing on that killed the sales of the 3/4 Killer Instinct cabs as well. So I think the next in this lineup will be Street Fighter. It'll tie in nicely with all the Street Fighter cabs they have out there. They've got a good fighting community for that. Next up is a bit of a long shot, but man, I'm hoping Killer Instinct Pro. Show the same love to your Capcom love in Street Fighter. to Mortal Kombat. People have been talking about this for a couple of years. It's a possibility. Next up will be MK Pro. Obviously, just use the same form factor used for Killer Instinct. Get rid of the gray, silver, faux T-molding. Get something more sensible. And you can release Mortal Kombat Pro Cab. And last but not least, the one people are probably going to be most upset about, but I wouldn't be surprised to see, and I'm talking about within a year, is a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 Pro Cabinet. Can you imagine how frustrated people would be if that actually came out? Like, imagine, like, of all the crap you just went through to get your Marvel vs. Capcom 2 cabinet, all the FOMO that was out there about there only being so many cabs, it was going to be hard to get, and then all of a sudden you got a Pro option ready in less than a year later, I'd be pretty pissed. So I hope Arcade1Up doesn't rush it out the door, especially with everything that's going on right now with the online. Give it some time. I'm hoping that I'm wrong about this one. They give it some time to breathe before they do a Pro. Give the 3/4 time to breathe. Let people get their mind away from some of the issues that went on with getting the online working. Then you do your Pro, but there you go. Nooner says they won't do MK because they are playing with console fanboys' emotions. There you go. Matt Asher Gaming says MVC2 Pro would sell so well. Yeah, you know that community. They want really good controls for the fighting game, so maybe a Marvel vs. Capcom Pro 2 would be something they go nuts about. Yeah. Marty McFly says Star Wars Trilogy Pro will be a slam dunk also. Ah, man, I wish they could do Star Wars Trilogy. Jason says MVC2 Pro will be 2024. Thor KC says, in my opinion, Cocktail Table is the most pro that Pac-Man can get, short of an OG baby pack. Louis P says next Pro will become Capcom versus SNK 2. MPC 5120 says, I want them to make MK4 with a riser so we have... yeah. Nick Gamble says, I think MVC2 Pro will be 2024. It's possible. I don't know how many pros they're going to do per year. Like, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to see from Arcade1Up going forward. Can you do one? Can you do 2 pros a year? How much are you asking? Because the pros aren't going to be sold to your randoms. They're going to be sold to your dedicated hardcore fan base. And how much money can you expect from your dedicated hardcore fan base every year for a pro cabinet? Console fanboy, I don't think when they're sitting around a war room, they're like, hey, come on, guys, let's screw with Zohar and not release a cabinet he wants. I don't think that's what comes into their mind when they're doing their business meetings. Frankie Bell says, Baby Pack with Virtual Pinball will be sweet. I've actually never played Baby Pack. I saw it at the pinball, Galloping Ghost Pinball, but I never played it. I don't know. I'm not interested. I don't know. I know it's a game that other people are really into. Just, nah. Rushmore says, yep, Blitz Pro and MVC2 Pro 2024 with real online play. I have the money, just make the right cabs. Dragon's Lair Pro. I think we've seen the last of Dragon's Lair. I think that 3/4 scale was the last you're going to see a Dragon's Lair. I don't know how well it's sold because you got to think about it. It's currently up, and I'll show you this. It makes me sad, too, because I love Dragon's Lair. I think they did a great job. Nick Gamble, 199 Super Chat. Dude, where did you get a New Era Arcade1Up hat? When I went to Chicago, I meant to mention this earlier, Ezekiel, the Chicago Retro Ranger, showed up, and he had gifts for all of us. One of the gifts was he made these. He made these Arcade1Up New Era hats, and he gave them to us as gifts. So these aren't official. These are just made hats, and man, I think this is exactly what I've always wanted from an Arcade1Up hat, so I'm very happy with it. There it is. Vic Vicious says, what about movie licenses like RoboCop, Aliens, etc.? So this is where it gets tricky. Like, there's lots of Aliens arcade games. Like, there's Aliens, and then there's Alien versus Predator. But you can't put them on the same cabinet because they're made by different companies. I think Sega made Aliens, and Alien versus Predator is Capcom, and it's hard to get those companies to share money. So the problem with the movie license games is they're so expensive, and then you can only put so much on a cabinet. So would you want to buy a RoboCop cab that only has like RoboCop 2 on it? Would you want to buy an Alien vs. Predator that only has Alien vs. Predator? Or do you want to buy an Aliens cab that only has Aliens? Like, this is the kind of shit you get into when the licensing and hard stuff gets into it. And you messed it up by bending it and removing the sticker. I actually didn't bend it. It came like this, man. Hey, Ezekiel, the Chicago Retro Ranger. Everybody say thank you to Ezekiel. Hey, that's my hat. One of my favorite gifts I've ever gotten. Thank you so much, Ezekiel. But Alien vs. Predator might be able, since Disney wants to get more adult lately. What's funny about that, you would think that it'd be possible, but the same company, Disney, went and took Punisher off the Arcade1Up cabinets going forward because it was too violent. So if you think they want to get more adult, why the hell did they take Punisher off cabinets that were already out there? It sucks. Sucks. So anyways, guys, that's my guess. I think you're going to get, legacy cabs again, same brands. I don't think we're going to get a new legacy. I don't think there's going to be any Konami legacy. I don't think there's going to be any Taito legacy, anything like that. What you see is what you get. Same legacy cabs, different branding. Capcom's going to have a different game lineup, maybe a different license this time. Everything else is going to remain the same. Evergreen products. I do think we're moving away from risers. I think we're going to have some riserless technology going forward from Arcade1Up for the 3/4 scales. Then we move into XL. So XL, I think you're getting a big Buck Hunter cabinet. I think you're getting a Turtles cabinet and a Star Wars cabinet. And then last but not least, possibly an NFL Blitz cabinet in the XL form factor. Then when we move over to Pro, we already know about Killer Instinct. Those of us who have pre-orders in should be getting them shipped in the early part of January. And then next up on the Pro docket, I think is going to be a Street Fighter II Championship Edition cabinet in a Dynamo cab. And then I don't know. I think the other two possibilities, it's definitely going to be fighters, are Mortal Kombat 2 and Marvel vs. Capcom 2. That's my guesses for next year. That's what I think we're getting. Yeah, I did want to go back to this Stupid Fat Hobbit. Thank you for bringing it up. But thank you for bringing it up. Now, going back to that WrestleFest cab, I do want people to be careful because if WrestleFest comes out, it's just 2 games, man. It's only going to be WrestleFest and WWF Superstars. They're the only 2 games that have the WWF license that are made by Technos. Everybody said, what about WrestleMania, the arcade game? That was actually a Midway game. I would love to see them have it on it. I think that would be the perfect third in a perfect world, but it's a combination of getting WWF, Midway, and Technos all to agree to share revenue, and I don't know if that'll be possible, but I would love to see WrestleMania the arcade game be on that cabinet either. And then if you can't do WrestleMania the arcade game, there's lots of other great wrestling games made by Technos, Matt Mania, other games that'd be a good fit for that cabinet, but I don't know if WWF would allow non-WWF wrestling games to be on the cabinet. So there's a chance that WrestleFest might only have 2 games. So keep that in mind. Thor KC says, if Big Buck has a decent sized screen, a lot of people who wouldn't buy other cabs will buy that one. I think a Big Buck XL cabinet, and here's the key about this. If they remake the Big Buck in the XL form factor, they've got to make it taller because the original Big Buck was a little bit too short. So the screen has to be taller up in the cabinet. And for God's sakes, man, talk to Retro 530 and see if you can get him to work with you or somebody, because you need the right proper light up marquee on that cabinet. You cannot sell another cabinet in this day and age without a light up marquee. So make it friggin' happen, Arcade1Up. Retro passes, WrestleFest with original WWF branding is good enough for us. I'm not really a Big Buck fan, so maybe I'm being biased, but I don't know. No, that's fine, Nooner. It's not for everybody. It's just, it's not the game I would want either. I mean, if I'm picking shooters, I want House of the Dead. That's what I want. I want House of the Dead. That Jurassic Park gun game is fantastic. Hell, even Alien 3, the gun is great. There's lots of great gun games. I don't even think of Big Buck, but there you go. I'm definitely not a big fan of Big Buck, but XL will get me in the door. Would be cool if Big Buck had leaderboards and some sticks. Wonder if an Arcade1Up handheld is in the work. That's all that is next in a new item to sell. Damien deals with it. I can't imagine Arcade1Up doing a handheld. Like, why would you want to play arcade games on a handheld? I mean, I know Evercade has that option out there, and that's cool for people who want to do that, but I mean, Arcade1Up is trying to sell. Maybe you might be right, man. I don't know. I mean, they're all about throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, so it's a possibility. Oh, Virtual Cop, I forgot about that. That's a good one. Area 51 all the way. Is there a possibility we won't see any more Pro Cabs? Well, that depends. There is a possibility, JR. It depends on, how realistic it is that they can afford to sell them. How many they can get out the door at $1,000, because Pro Cabs are going to have to come from Arcade1Up directly. So I don't know. Jamie Loken says, I don't know, bud, if they keep rehashing the same old licenses, they may start losing people. I don't disagree with you, Jamie Loken. I feel the same way. I'm just telling you this is what I think they're going to do. I'm not telling you that it's a good idea or what I'm hoping for. This is just my guess on what they're actually going to do. Pedestalcade. Maybe. It's too bad that Nintendo won't play nice. I know, ever since Arcade1Up first came out, we all said it'd be cool if they could do a Donkey Kong. A lot of people said it'd be cool if they could do a Popeye. What about a Smash, what is it? No, Mario Brothers Cab. I don't know. What's your take on 1UP fixing the sale numbers on KI Pro? I mentioned this on Super Game Room, dude. So, possibility was, apparently earlier that day, someone wrote me and said there's 118 cabs left. Then someone said there was 115 cabs left, and then it disappeared. So my couple thoughts on that is, numbers were wrong in the first place. That 115 represented just 15 left, and maybe they sold them all. That's scenario one. Scenario two is they ended up selling the remaining stock to either Shop Hippo, to the Canadian distributor, somebody, and it is going to be sold at retail somewhere, and that's how they got the numbers off their books. The other one is they just said it was sold out because they talked to the manufacturer and found out that they were actually at a point where they could only make this many and still break even or come out ahead, and it was just better for them to end at that time than try to sell 100 more and manufacture 100 more they thought they were never going to sell. That's my guess. I don't know. I don't know the right answer on that one. So anyways, that's pretty much it for what I anticipate the CES announcements for Arcade1Up are. Pretty much, that's my big guess on announcements for all of Arcade1Up next year, but we'll see what happens. Maybe we get even less. Like, if you look at CES last year, all we got were the, we didn't get Marvel vs. Capcom 2 or NFL Blitz early on last year. All we got was kind of the legacy cabinets. That was all we really got announced, and KI Pro last year. So we'll see where it goes. But before we get done, I do want to bring this up, guys, and I apologize, but as most of you know, I'm running a little contest. I'm working with AtGames, and of course, the big finale is coming up this week, coming up on the 17th, your last day to get your marquees in for the AtGames Bit LCD Community Challenge. You can see I've actually got my Bit LCD running back there, so I just want to run through this really quickly, guys. So, for those people that don't know, if you have a Bit LCD and you're into creating custom marquees, you can enter the challenge, you create your own custom marquee, and you have an opportunity to win some of these amazing prizes. So, just give me a second, guys. We'll see if this works. So, I got to bring it up on the screen. Sorry, guys. Just give me 1 second. So, first prize, again, is an AtGames Legends Pinball Micro. If you watch my channel, I did a review on this last week. That little machine is amazing. There's also 2 additional prizes of quad play control panels for basically contestants 2 and 3. Whoa, get off the screen. Sorry, guys. 1 second. The COVID is still killing me here. Sorry, guys. So, I also wanted to bring up the next one is how to actually enter. And let me move this down here. I really got to get better at this. So, how to actually enter. I've showed you guys this clip before, but what you're going to do is you're going to upload your video to Twitter. There you can see it there. There's your AtGames machine and the marquee because we want to see the marquee going. You're just going to type in, this is my entry to the Bit LCD Community Marquee Design Challenge. Make sure you tag at MichaelBtheGameGenie and also tag at AtGames Gaming. That's all you have to do. Make sure your video is between 30 seconds and a minute, and just to make sure it fits on Twitter, and you were entered into the competition to win one of those prizes. Now, the reason I want to bring this up is we actually had a lot of cool entrants from this past week that I want to show you guys now. So stick with me, and I want to show you how cool these are. If I knew how to do that, I'd enter, but they'd probably not be family friendly. What's happening, JT Brunick? So guys, just give me a second. I get this shit off screen, and then I can bring this up for you. So this one I'm really impressed with. I want to show you guys this one. So this is one that came in this past week from ST Gyro. Here's my submission for the Bit LCD Marquee Design Challenge. Put it up full screen. You guys got to see this. Boom! Arcade1Up. He's got the, 80s retro graph stuff going. And then when he moves over, get a look at that. Flies out. Come on, move into the next one. There it is. Look at that. Legends Ultimate. How cool is that? This is one of my favorite, personally, I've seen so far. Of course, after we get through all the entries being in on the 17th, we're going to let the community decide on who they want to be the winner, but that is so very freaking cool. Now, moving on, I've also got some other entries here I want to show you. This is coming in from David Gilbert. David was watching earlier. Hope he's still here. He's got an entry that goes boldly for where no man has gone before. So I'll bring that up on screen here now. David's entrance is a Star Trek themed marquee. Check this out. Set phasers to maximum. Pretty friggin' cool, right? Hold on, guys. I just go back. How amazing is this? Amazing job, David. Thank you very much. And then today, we got a really cool one in from Darker Dark, showing some Sega love for Shadow Dancer. He also sent in a bunch of other marquees that you can go check out as well. But a bunch of cool entries this week. It's going to be amazing to see who turns out to be the winner. Thank you so much, everybody, for getting your entries in for the AtGames Legends Community Bit LCD Challenge we've had this past couple weeks. I'm sorry I haven't supported as much as I possibly should. I've been super sick, but luckily the community has stepped up, made some awesome marquees for everybody to look at, and I couldn't be prouder and happier to see what everybody's been put together. There's so many cool things out there. Just make sure that afterwards you make your marquees available for other people in the community to get their hands on, because they want to use these awesome marquees on their own Legends Bit LCDs as well. So keep that in mind. Anyways, guys, that's everything for tonight. I am currently dying, so my coffee's just about done. When that's done, I'm going to drink this Gatorade, and hopefully I'm feeling a little bit better after that. I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed my prediction show. My hope is I'm a little bit wrong, and we're actually going to get a massive year with a lot of cool new stuff, weird and bizarre arcade titles, just like crazy stuff happening all over the place. What's the game? Gorf. I want to see a Gorf cab. I want to see a Journey cab. I want to see a dedicated Robotron XL cab. but I don't think any of that's going to happen. Hopefully I'm wrong, and hopefully we get more than what I think we're going to get. And personally, what I want is I want more and more XL cabs because I'm ready to turf all my 3/4 and move to XL size, and hopefully that's what you guys are looking for as well. Anyways, thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out tonight. Hope you had a great Monday night. Glad to finally be back on Monday night, and hopefully next week I do this without sounding like I'm dying of a cold. Thank you very much, everybody. This has been Chillin' Chat with Michael B.